Any other use of this telecast, or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without Cactus Media X or Arizona Cactus Football League's consent is prohibited.
And welcome to AZCFL Intel, Episode 4. I am your host, Jesse Burke. And again, this is the show that links the players to the media. A special guest tonight. Very excited because 2 weeks in a row, I get to go behind the curtain, get to see a new face, meet a new person. And that's the goal of this league, is the more people I see and have an ability to get to know, the better the league, the better the platform, the better the experience. And that's what it's for. So with that being said, I'm going to let you have the floor. Tell me who I got in studio, who's joining me tonight for the episode of Intel. Who do you play for? Where you from? Welcome.
Gotcha. Thanks again for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Name's Dominik Johnston. Play for the Tempe Owls, number 0. Mainly a receiver. Play a little bit of everything, whatever it takes to get the team going. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me over here today.
Yeah, very excited. It's always great when, like I said, being able to see new faces and see the different types of personalities we have in the league. And it's something that we have to market and promote because, you know, there's definitely all types of different people and players and personalities in this league. So it's great to see everyone in between. Getting right to it, man. We were talking a little bit before the show throughout the week and getting an idea, you know, just touching base, but wanted to save most of it for the show. So as like myself, I'm not from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think many people are, you know, from, but where are you from and what brought you to Arizona?
I was actually born in St. Petersburg, Florida. Didn't stay much there. We ended up living in Pennsylvania for half my life from the time I was about 3, 4 to around 11, 12. Moved out to Arizona because my mom was sick of the snow. She did not want to keep living in that. But we came out here because it was warmer. We stayed here ever since, and 25 now, so we've been here about a little over a decade. So it's been nice. I enjoyed out here.
So how old were you when you moved from Florida to Pennsylvania?
I'm pretty sure it was, I think we bounced around a couple of times between Florida and Pennsylvania, I'll be honest, like a few places in between there, but I was somewhere around the age of 2, somewhere between 2 and 3. I don't remember any of that. My earliest memory is Pennsylvania, and that's home to me.
Okay, so you're 2 years old, so you've already been playing football for like a year, right?
I didn't make it till I was about 6, but might as well have it. I was running routes with my dad when I was 3.
So, granted, then I gather you take it. You said you grew up near Penn State, big Penn State fan. I gather that's where the love of football came from?
Oh, yeah.
Where did that start? That's what it was?
Oh, yeah. It was, weirdly enough, my dad's a little disappointed. I'm not a Steelers fan anymore. But I grew up watching Penn State and the Steelers, watching people like Hines Ward, Troy Polamalu out on the field. At Penn State at the time, Larry Johnson at running back. That was great to watch and see. I played catcher Michael Robinson, who was playing quarterback before he was a fullback for the Seahawks when he was at Penn State. But that cemented it. I mean, and plus in Pennsylvania, I was growing up. It was a small town. You were playing sports or you were running around climbing trees or something. So I played sports year round. I played football, basketball, baseball, wrestled for a second, but football's always been my first love.
So you know this being from the East Coast. Granted, you didn't move to Arizona until your high school years and stuff, or in your playing years. On the East Coast, something that I thought was a unique dynamic in the high school and intramural levels, depending on what school you go to, some of the games, instead of Friday Night Lights, it's Saturday afternoon games.
Yep.
Or Saturday daylight lights, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a funny dynamic because throughout my time growing up, I saw these shows, Friday Night Lights, and the TV depictions in the West Coast. So I thought that was just for movies and stuff, and then they really play on Friday night. So what was that like starting out on the East Coast and playing in Pop Warner? Or, I'm sure they have the local teams. I know back home they had the Bulldogs, little things like that. What was that like starting in the cold weather and getting your first, I guess, feet wet in football?
I think the biggest change from the East Coast out here is, and it's something that is subtle but it's obvious at the same time if you play and watch football. It's because it's so much colder, the play style is entirely different. Growing up, we ran a lot of pro sets, 2 backs, I formations, heavier sets, because when you get later into the season, it's cold. You're not trying to throw the ball all day. Out here on the West Coast, I started seeing 4 spread out receivers. Quarterbacks had a lot bigger arms. It was more fast-paced. It was a lot. That was my biggest shift from football when I first moved, was watching it go from this more condensed game and hard-nosed to a bit more spread, A little bit quicker, a lot more faster players. But that was my biggest shift. And I mean, yeah, playing on Fridays and Saturdays, that was a difference for me. But the biggest one was the play style. That threw me for a second. But looking back at it, I'm glad I got it, because now I have a little bit more of an understanding of different types and styles of football.
Yeah, definitely being able to see both extremes. I'm sure you're well fitted for home games, away games. You've seen it all. Being that you said you bounced back to and from Pennsylvania and Florida and such, was there times where you brought it back to the neighborhood with some stuff you learned in Pennsylvania, and then you sauced them up on the street, or vice versa? You were playing some flag in the nice weather in Florida, then you brought it back to the Penn?
I'll be honest, I wish I could say that I did. When I went back to Pennsylvania just to visit and mess around with the friends, and it was 40 degrees outside, big difference. That's a big difference than being in 80 to 120 out here in Arizona. That it threw me for a second. I'm playing in a lot thicker clothing. I think actually the biggest shift was playing in the streets out here in Arizona. That just literally in the street with the curbs as our sidelines. That was probably the biggest one that got me. That wasn't done on the East Coast, because there was hills everywhere. You're not going to have as many curbs. It's hard to tell. But we had a lot more fields on the East Coast. We played in the grass a bit more often. Right.
For sure. If I grew up in a cul-de-sac, if a car came down on the dead end, we had to just call timeout or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so I gather you're a neighborhood kid. You bounced around from Florida, Pennsylvania, back and forth. You were living at a location that you said was high volume because of the college campus and the college atmosphere. Just the East Coast usually has big set families. I don't mean by size, I mean by amount of people.
Yeah.
And so you're a neighborhood guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the way you got into football? Tell me kind of a time where you saw some kids playing it and you got that feeling well, I know I'm better than them, or I could do that. What was your breakthrough moment, I guess?
Believe it or not, my first breakthrough was early on. Back with my dad, he taught me the route tree when I was 3. So we would go out back, and he would tell me to run a post or run an 8 or something along these lines. Of course, every route tree is a little different, but for me, an 8 was a post. And he taught me to run that in a slant, 2-step versus 5, or 3-step versus 5. He taught me those routes at such a young age that by the time I finally got into football, it was all oh, we're going to teach you how to run a slant today. Well, I know how to run that one. So that was neat. But I think my biggest impact was actually when out here in Arizona, was just playing with the neighborhood kids, in the street. That's actually how I taught myself how to keep my feet in bounds, because you learn the hard way. Either you kept both feet in, or you were hitting the curb and you were eating rocks. So I think those were my 2 biggest individual influences on the neighborhood that taught me with football. Otherwise, it was just messing around for fun. Throwing the ball up to myself and running underneath it was another one that I did. That's how I taught myself how to catch a football.
Okay. I know that's the East Coast royalty to break some windshields in the neighborhood. I've definitely been guilty of that. So with football being kind of your secondhand language, so to speak, and having this insight from from being able to see it from a ways away to playing it from an early age, what was the part when you started getting your football brain to a point where, I don't want to say you were questioning your dad or when did you start talking back or talking back and saying, well, nah, Dad, in practice, coach said this, or, and we're not trying, no shade to your pops.
Hopefully he's not watching right now.
I'm only saying this because you said he was the first one. You said it was Uncle Tommy or something. I would have came at him.
So hopefully, actually, I was lucky enough to have him coach me up until I got to high school. So it wasn't up until after high school, and even now, I never tried it. I'll talk to him by himself. I never question him out openly if I'm going to do anything along those lines. But it would have been high school, because that's when the first time he finally stepped away. I ended up going to Hamilton High School, and he recognized that was kind of they were a football powerhouse at the time. So he realized, he was like, all right, it's their turn to take over, teach him what he needs to know, and go from there. But yeah, I think the first time I ever thought about questioning him would have been in high school. He'll probably tell you I did it earlier. If he did, I don't remember. But that would have been the time that I can think of. It would have been high school. That would have been the time frame I finally started being like, I don't know if this works.
I know you taught me the route tree early, Dad, but I'm on to bigger things, you know. What so you brought me to a good point, and I appreciate you saying this because I consider myself an old head when it comes to the sports because they pro style offense, you know, power eye, East Coast. That's what I grew up watching.
Yeah.
The West Coast offense, just like Friday Night Lights, I thought it was a figure of speech. I didn't really think it was a thing. What was that transition like from, because you said exactly that. When people equate different styles of offense, they think what? They think you're old, or they think like, oh, like you're not adapting to the new style, right? But you having the firsthand knowledge of playing on the East Coast, playing on the West Coast, you know there's a direct difference, right? It's experience. So I guess what's that dynamic of having to, I guess, kill that stereotype of like, oh, you know, I'm used to a power eye, and they go, oh, yeah, that's the old style, but that's not so, right? And they're speaking out of what they believe in as coaches or what they believe in as players, and these might be kids that have stayed on the West Coast their whole lives, grew up watching Bill Walsh, grew up watching the Niners. You know, so that's all they know, right? So obviously in football you balance ego, you balance roles. You don't talk back to coach. I know all these things. I hear them. But what is that way that you can, I guess, tuck that knowledge or use it to your advantage?
I mean, I can't ever say I ever got rid of it. I never tried to stray from it, and I took in what I can, because at the end of the day, my viewpoint of football has always been anything that I learn that's new can be useful. Like, for example, I play receiver now. Just because I learned one way to get off a press doesn't mean that's the only one way to do it. There's multiple ways to get the job done. And you learn with the system as well, that even though they have different ways of getting things done, certain players typically play certain spots. Each is geared towards the same thing, and that's winning the ball game. My hardest transition when learning them was on the East Coast. I played quarterback. I've always been more of a cerebral player. I've never really been gifted of being bigger than most people, or taller than most people, or faster than most people, but I had to rely on being smarter than most people. So I grew up playing quarterback, and we switched over to here, to move to Arizona, I should say. I switched to receiver because I was a little bit quicker at that age, and I've stuck with it ever since. But playing quarterback and being in that system, I think, brought a whole realm of knowledge with me that helps make me more of a diverse player, and hopefully down the line, if I ever decide to step into a more diverse coach.
Definitely, I know that it comes with, even you hear from players that don't get to play all that much. They get to see the game played at a different lens than others, right? Or you hear it from, like you said, there's a different cornerback, there's different receiver styles, there's different, right? And you hear that some dudes, I blacked out, bro. I just bulldozed. I did my thing, and I just muscled up. Then you see some dudes, they're analytics with it. They're just like, oh yeah, I saw him. I stared his eyes down. I saw him backpedaling on the third back step. I jumped the route and I was out. What are some things that I guess have helped you relay to others? Have you ever had examples where people have come to you because of some of your knowledge or because of some of your experience, even without you like flexing, without you, because from what I gathered for the first 10 minutes, it doesn't seem like you seem like a bossy guy, but you're out here. Are they saying like, hey, this guy's played on the East Coast, come to him, or is there more of a you kind of puffing your chest out? What was that like?
I think people every now and again, they come to me and ask for knowledge. I don't ever just give unless someone comes and asks, because at the end of the day, I want you to want it, especially like even on my own team. I'm helpful, but at the same time, it's kind of like a test. If you don't want it, what are you doing? Because it's football. If you don't want it, you're gonna get yourself hurt, someone else hurt. You're gonna let the team down, and that's not viable. So it's always been big that they want it, and if they want it, I have no problem helping teach. And I'm not gonna pretend that I know everything, because I really don't. But at the same time, I've always been willing to help people who want it. And at the end of the day, I think that's huge, because at the end of the day, if you're not wanting to get better and you're stagnant, you're not going to go anywhere. And that's team, player, organization. It doesn't matter. If you're stagnant, you're stuck. You can't succeed that way.
Definitely. So coming to high school, you come to Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, or outside of Arizona, they're top 5 in the school. I think top 5 in the nation. They produced crazy talents like Todd Heap, Terrell Suggs, and other football players. But you won a ring, a state championship with them in 2012.
Correct. Yes.
Your sophomore year.
My junior.
Your junior.
Yes.
Okay. What position were you playing then? Be honest. Were you starting? Were you a backup? What was your role?
Oh no, I'm not gonna lie like that. My junior year, I was certainly not starting. I was playing corner. I was too short at the time to be playing. At least I thought I was too short at the time to be playing receiver. The downside of Hamilton was that we had players who were talented and we had players with size. So all our receivers at the time were -1 or 2 were about 6'1", 6 foot up. And me at the time I was 5'10" and $160. So I played defense. I played corner. I loved it. I did not start my junior year. I didn't start my senior year, actually. I was my nickel corner, then I tore my hip flexor, lost my spot, and just made plays on special teams as I could. But my junior year, yes, we did win. We played Mountain Point in the championship game. Won that year. Unfortunately, we went back my senior year against Mountain Point, and we got... I don't like remembering that game.
It's ironically, I moved to Arizona my senior year of high school, and that was my alma mater. But not to age myself, it was not any time close to when Dom was doing his thing on the field. So with that, top 5 in AZ, I think top 5 in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
What are some players you played with in high school that went off to college or now in the league? And tell me some cool stories about practice. If any of these guys you think you could still go at, granted if you had the same training they did and nutrition and all that stuff. But yeah, name some names, man.
I think some of the better answers are, for example, the one that I know, I can't say closely, but I knew better than the other ones who went further was Cole Luke. He now plays for the Washington football team. He was a senior when I was a junior. And I remember going against him in practice, and just his arms were so long. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm quick off the ball, I'm good, I got a good step, and the next thing I know, my shoulder's jammed. And then I get off that, next thing I know, I'm getting pushed to the sideline. And then he's there with me stride for stride, because he's a whole 3 inches taller than me. His technique was great at the time, and he was a crazy athlete, man. People don't recognize how good of an athlete he was. But he would probably be the first person that comes to mind. He's still playing in the NFL. We had our left tackle my senior year, Casey Tucker. I believe he's still playing out there. Christian Westerman played at Auburn for a minute there, went back to ASU. I believe he went pro as well. But yeah, we have a good couple that I didn't play with Christian myself. I was actually a freshman and he was a senior. But yeah, a couple names here and there. But Cole was the first one that comes to mind, and that man could play. He taught me a lot. And he also taught me that if someone's going to be bigger than you and have longer reach than you got to find another way to make things work. If it wasn't for him, there's no way I'd find ways to make things work.
So knowing that, took that to the lab and you kind of adjusted, and I haven't seen you play it. I saw a couple plays. I haven't seen you up front. I owe you that. But what was your craft going forward? You kind of worked on the speed and the finesse. What was your niche? Because you said you played quarterback, you played here and there, but come on, man, there's got to be a position that you smile at the most.
Oh,
yeah. You want. What is it?
I'm actually playing a little bit more the past few seasons, but this year hopefully I'm staying there. But slot receiver, that is the spot where I feel like I thrive the most. It's a spot I feel like I can give the most to the team. I love being there, and I understand that some people are like, oh, slot receivers, big plays over the top, or some people are like the nitty-gritty routes. I'm more of the nitty-gritty route. The 3rd and 5, that's when I want the ball. I want to be that guy who can get the first downs. I don't need 50-yard catches. I don't need 6 touchdowns. But if I can help the team stay on the field, that's where I like to be. I like to get those little 4 to 8 yard plays here and there and just chip away at the defense.
So can you take a hit? You can take
a
hit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I have taken more than my fair share of hits of being in this league. Man, yes, I always get back up. That's the one thing that people don't understand. I get the jokes on the sideline. Oh, he's small. Oh, he's this, that, and the other. Like, yeah. And then I take a hit, and they're laughing, they're hooping and hollering, but I get right back up, give the ball to the ref, get back to the huddle. I always get back up. I've taken my fair share, but I'm going to give back.
So your high school playing size, you said 5'10", 180, or what did you say, 160?
Yep.
What are you playing at now?
Unfortunately, the same weight, but I'm 2 inches taller. I've
Okay.
never been able to get over 160, and that's when, even in high school, when I was eating six times a day, I could not get over 160. I do not know what it is. Hopefully, I can break past that wall here shortly, but I have grown a little bit since then. I've gotten more technique-based because I know that at the end of the day, if I can't get bigger, okay, I can work on other things, though.
For sure. Then obviously there's outliers, and you see it in the NFL. People will say, well, there's Darren Sproles, he's 5'6", or Alvin Kamara, he's not even that big, but obviously that's an exception to what is the norm. So, getting into the CFL, AZCFL, you've been in the league. You said what, 2 years?
I've been with the AZCFL since their inception. My first year semi-pro was actually with the Hornets. The last year
in 2018.
18? I forget. I'll be honest. I forgot what year. It might have been 17. It might have been 18. But regardless, the Hornets last year as a team, that was my first year in semi-pro, and I was playing corner at the time. It wasn't until I joined the Owls, their first year, in the AZCFL's first year, that I actually made the switch over to receiver, or back over to receiver, I should say.
So were you on the team with Marco at that time?
I was not. I believe he was there a year prior. I have worked out with Marco here and there. I love his game. I love learning from him. He can teach a lot. He's one of the players in the league I would enjoy playing with and learning from on a regular basis.
I had him on episode 2, and it was kind of cool and humbling to catch him in, just the real conversation, because he even acknowledged that he has a high profile in the AZCFL, good or bad, depending on, what personality or what perception you have of his personality. He was all real with me, and he was saying how, his first couple years, he would puff his chest out and let you guys know who he was. But now he's kind of falling more comfortably into this old head vet role, and people can turn to him and look to him. So getting to that, knowing that you have a very strict football regiment background, playing for a team like Hamilton, I don't think people quite understand what it's like to play for a 6A division school and have to balance grades and social life and parents' expectations and whatever, on top of, like you were saying, trying to compete. So tell these AZCFL guys what the schedule was like in high school, and kind of how it's night and day. I mean, it should be a breeze for you, right? A walk in the park.
So I actually have a couple guys, teammates I play with, I believe, that are actually playing for the Hawks this year, so they can test this as well. Freshman year, we had to be at practice. We had a 0 hour. So our 0 hour, our first hour, and our second hour was a football class. We had to be at school at 6, start practice. We'd finish up, shower, and then go to our second period. And we had to stay an hour after school to make up for that hour. So we had a longer day our freshman year. And then once you got out of that and you went to your JV year, sophomore year, if you were one of the exceptional players of freshman, you got pulled up to varsity. Or your junior and senior year, it became an after-school class. So you'd go to school at normal time, but your last hour of school would be a football class. That'd be the time we'd probably get some weight training in, or we'd get some CrossFit training on the track or out on the field, and then we'd have practice. And we'd be getting home, 2:14 was it? So we'd probably be getting home around 5. But we were doing that 5 days a week. Varsity, we were doing it 5 days a week, and then if it was game scenarios, season time, we'd come back in Saturday for a light workout to watch, and then to watch film. So we were going 5-6 days a week on a regular basis. So if you did not love football, it was easy to get burnt out. It was very easy to get burnt out.
And then I can't even imagine playing in the summers where it's 304 degrees here or something crazy like that. So what are some things that we always talk about in the AZCFL, you guys have lives outside of football. You have family, you have full-time jobs, you have projects, passions. I know some guys are into music, others are acting, some got kids and gyms and fitness things going on. What are ways that you're able to instill or relay that It comes with the territory. Playing football is not just the throwing the ball, catching the ball, blocking and tackling. It's the whole package, and I think that's what gets lost in what we see on Sundays and what we see on these, the Super Bowl and the big games. Is people think that you guys just show up, play, and that's it, right? It's disrespectful, right? At some point to think that, oh, I would have caught that pass, but they don't think that. Would have you made the proper block, or ran the right route, or even been where the ball was, right? There's so many things that go into it. So with that, what are some things that you see? You don't have to get too into it, but what are some things that you see or hear from players when there is these not mandatory practices or not expectations? But I was talking about it with last week's guest, Corey. Obviously, being an offensive lineman, there's a very cohesive unit that you have to build, and with that, they're hanging out after practice, before practice, on the weekends. They're cooking ribs, they're doing their thing. Has there been any of that? Has there been a division of half the people want to do that and half the people are kind of like, nah, I give you guys, the hours I have, and after that I'm gone? Or is there an in between? And have you, can you touch on it?
There's definitely both, or in between, or all three if you count the in between. There's definitely a little bit of all of them. The first 2 years with the Owls, actually had a lot of the guys who were like, I'm gonna give you my time, I'm gonna go do my thing. I think that was motivation was part of the reason we struggled our first couple seasons. This year we're lucky enough to bring some guys in that we've been working since mid to late May, working with the same guys. We've had 20, 30 guys out there on a regular basis, same 20, 30 guys out there on a regular basis, and then the rest coming in as well, just working. And I mean, now this year feels like we're a lot more of a family. We're partying together. We had Super Bowl parties, birthday parties together, but it's become a lot more of family feel. So even if there's work, we're doing it together. If there's downtime, we do a lot more of it together. So there is a little bit of both. I've seen both, and there's people like myself who I do a bit more. I'm a bit more of the in between. I lean towards doing a lot more with the team, but I also recognize all right, so I need to go do this at the house. I need to get this done. I need to make sure I'm working, stuff along those lines. So there is a balance to it, but I think that the most successful teams lean towards the middle to being around each other a bit more. Because when you care about the people you're playing with, it's a better experience. And if you're having fun, you're out there and you're going to play a little bit better.
Comes back to what are people's goals, right? If you have a player that is the guy that wants team success and wants everybody to be eaten at the table, then I'm sure he's more so of the in the middle or to the extreme. And then if there's the guy that is there to hang on to the glory days or just want to hit somebody, I'm sure he's kind of pulling up at practice and leaving it, as soon as he can. What are some things that you've done individually to kind of make your name and your presence known, not only in the team but in the league? Because no disrespect, I haven't heard about you until the episode.
And believe it or not, that's actually been kind of the goal. I like flying under the radar. That's part of the reason I ended up joining the Owls. I get a couple people here and there who reach out to me like, man, you can play. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you noticed. But I try to keep quiet on red zone for 9 times out of 10. Every now and again I'll jump in and say something. I don't typically put together a whole bunch of highlights, and at the end of the day my viewpoint's always been if I get 2 catches for 4 yards but my team won, I'm fine. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people like winning. I cannot stand losing. Back to the point of playing at Hamilton, my junior year we won a ring. I'm not married, I don't have any kids, so that's the best feeling I've ever had in my life, was winning that ring. But how good that feeling felt was not as bad as the feeling was losing my senior year. That feeling losing my senior year still sticks with me. I can't stand losing. I mean, I do my best to be a good loser. I don't know what that is at the end of the day, but at the same time, I can't stand it. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Man, that's funny because that's just it, right? When you win, even obviously translates to when you watch your favorite sports team, and obviously you're powerless because you're just watching, right? But then when they lose, man, you're just so hurt. You don't even want to go to work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Like your stomach hurts. You're just mad. You're questioning, should I even watch next season?
I mean,
But then,
I'm a Panthers fan, so that's normal for me at this
oh
point.
yeah, but then if they win, what happens? You go, so they should have won, right? And then the energy is not even there. So that's dude, honestly, I'm not smart enough to figure this out. I don't know why negativity is stronger than positivity. It makes no sense, right? It should be the opposite. But such is life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to ask this later on, but you kind of led me to it. So I want to get to it, was getting an idea of like your sportsmanship.
Yeah.
That you just told me you won a championship, you lost a championship.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious to say, because I've always been, I'm, not to big myself up, but I love sportsmanship. I love the handshakes. I love when dudes are talking within the whistle, then after whistle, it's all love. I love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I like to see, and I never knew how it goes down because it's just so cool, is when a championship, obviously there's a loser and there's a winner, and at some point, one of the losers goes and talks to one of the winners, or the winners goes to the loser. So I'm gonna ask you, is it the champion's responsibility to go, congratulate, or I don't even, give props to the loser, or should the loser go congratulate the champion?
That's a good question. I never actually thought about that. I would actually have to say that the team who loses should probably, it's not their moment. It's their time to go over there, congratulate who won. At the end of the day, if you put the work in and it paid off and you got the results, it's your time to admire, and take in the moment, live in the moment. And if you lost, I mean, it hurts. It really hurts, but that you can handle that back in the locker room. You're gonna go watch film the next day, I hope. But I would if I was in that situation, I would have to say it's the loser. If you're gonna put some responsibility on someone, I'd say it'd have to be the loser to go talk to the winner, because it's the winner's moment at that point, and they earned it.
Fair enough. At what point have you seen this? And that's why, man, the media. I defend the media. That's me, right? I feel like I gotta defend them, but I also feel like there doesn't need to be a us versus them. That's the whole goal. I feel everybody should just. You should be able to text the journalists and be like, "Why'd you write that about me, man? What happened?" Right? That's what. But they don't have it. They hit Twitter, then they have your fans, and then the fans. Then it's a World War III, right? So we've seen every dynamic, and I love it all. We saw it with Diggs on the Bills. He stayed and watched the Chiefs win the AFC Championship, and he wanted to soak it in and kind of know what it's like to celebrate. But then people came and be happy for some positivity, because then they turn around and they're like, what about in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles? He didn't stand around when they got blown out, blah, blah, blah. So people, it's all up to their perception, right? I can see where if a champion came up to the loser and kind of pat him on the head, it was like, yeah, good job, man. I feel like I would be upset, because then I kind of feel like you're rubbing it in my face a little bit. I feel like you were saying this is your moment. You guys can celebrate, do the Gatorade bath, kiss your girlfriend, do the, the confetti angel. And then when it's time, I'll give you the dap, right?
Yeah.
But I was always curious to see how that went down and whose responsibility it was to initiate that. And obviously there's no requirement. You've seen Brady run off a Super Bowl when he's lost one, and you've seen him win one and not even really care about the daps from the losers. Like, he doesn't care, right?
Yeah.
But with that, have you seen anything like that from all of the spectrums? Have you seen somebody being a salty loser and you had to keep their head up, or have you seen someone over the top with the winning and you had to bring them back down to a level 5, right? Or was there ever a time where you kind of were upset with yourself and you caught yourself being like, you know what, that was disrespectful to them? Because I always think, if you guys are playing the game, right, and you're both wanting to win the Super Bowl, the championship, at what point, if you dismiss the thing you lost, at what point does that belittle the victory for the other side?
I get what you're getting at. I've actually been lucky enough to never really have to deal with such awkward situations. I'd have to say the worst I've had to do is bring people down when we're winning. Like, for example, the year that we did win a championship at Hamilton, we lost our first 2 games. We lost to Mountain Point, funny enough, our first game. They scored with, I think it was 30 seconds left. No, even less because they only kicked they had a kickoff and we couldn't return it for a touchdown. And that was game. We actually flew to Ireland for game 2. The whole team flew to Ireland to play Notre Dame prep from California before the Navy and Notre Dame game in Ireland.
The country?
Yes, we flew.
Not
Dublin,
Ireland, California or something?
No, Dublin, Ireland. We had to get passports. It was a whole thing. We flew out there to play Notre Dame, and then we get our butts kicked in Ireland. We come back and win week 3, and we're all like, "Oh yeah, we won!" Like, chill. We won one. We traveled across the world to take a butt kicking. We lost here in Tempe. We gotta chill. This is one game, and we got our heads on straight. Went down the line, ran the table the rest of the games, and won a championship game. But yeah, I mean, and that also, to be fair, I wasn't one of the main leaders on the team. I was a junior. I was an underclassman of that team. But I feel like that was the closest time I'd have to say we've had to see someone I had to check themselves when we're winning, because you haven't done nothing yet.
Bro, I need you the next time you're at practice and coach says you guys have to come in for like a film room or something, and the first person to complain, I need you to stand up and be like, "Hey, I went to Ireland for a game, okay? You can make it to the building, sir."
Yes.
Bro, I'll pick you up. You don't even need a passport. I had to get a passport for this. Like, dude, that's insane. That's what kind of dude? I'd be like, "Oh no, I didn't get the field trip signed." I don't know. That's crazy, man. Ireland? They don't even have football in Ireland, right? Nah.
They had rugby. They had rugby. We were playing on a soccer field. That is what we were playing, on a rugby or soccer field. But it was a unique experience.
A pitch, they call it, right?
Yeah, they do. Yep,
they
correct.
Call it the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So then, okay. How'd you end up at the CFL? I mean, how'd you find the Hornets? What was that transition? Obviously, people everywhere and every level have their opinions about semi-pro. Some people like to call it developmental. Mm-hmm. Some people like to call it minor league. I like to call it football.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What was your transition? What was kind of your, like, I'm here, I'm home moment? And then what's kind of your goal going forward?
So, actually, after I graduated from Hamilton, I stepped away from football for about 3-4 years. I tried to focus on school, figure out what I wanted to do. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, but I stepped away for a little bit, and then I was playing. I lived out in Gilbert at the time. There was this little get-together every Sunday. We would do like flag pickup games. It's actually how I met Jake with the quarterback with the Tide, but it was Vic Perry. Shout out to Vic Perry. Appreciate everything you've done for me, man. I saw him out there, and he was playing one day, and he brought me out to play with his flag team, like a organized league flag team. And he mentioned that he played in pads, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know they had leagues like that." He's like, "Oh, yeah, they have leagues like that. I'm going to practice. We're not in pads yet, but you can come out if you want." I'm like, "We need a corner." He's like, "We need a corner." And I'm like, "Deal. I'll be there." And I went to that practice, and I stuck with it. That I fell back in love with football at that moment, and my goal at that point was to eventually play, get some film, try out for the Rattlers, go from there. I don't know if that's still the goal. If I can bulk up and put some good film out there, and someone came to me and said they want to play the next level, I would definitely jump at the opportunity. But at this point, I'd say my focus is more enjoying it while I can before I step into coaching. I think that my next evolution is going to be coaching.
So obviously the goal is head coach, or it might not be.
Offensive coordinator, believe it or not.
Okay, boom. OC. I like it. What have you considered or looked into Pee-wee coaching or reffing or anything to get your foot in the door, or on the field, if you will?
Both, actually. I used to ref some games here and there, just flag for those. I haven't reffed any fully padded games, but I did coach Pee-wee for a couple seasons there when I was in high school. My little brother he actually stopped playing Pee-wee for a second there, but now he's actually going to Hamilton. He's going to be a freshman this next year. I don't think I'm going to try to get my foot in the door there just yet. That's a big program. But yeah, I have thought about it. I think that it might be here in semi-pro I start coaching here sometime down the line, but it'll be a minor role initially. If that's the case, receiver coach, then work my way up. But yeah, my passion is definitely geared towards coaching. Like I said, I'm more of a cerebral player, And I think that type of player, that type of role player, transitions well into coaching, and that's not just for football. That's for a lot of sports.
For sure. And then also, I love the idea of athletics and what you do off the field or on the field can translate to off the field or vice versa. What do you do outside of football, man? Kind of who are you, out of the uniform? What are your interests? What's your favorite foods? That type of stuff.
Oh man, writing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my big one. I'm actually writing a 10-book novel series. I won't go too far into that.
Really?
Hopefully one day you guys are reading it and not hearing me talk about it.
So what's the genre? Like you said, like English, like deep folk English, graphic novels. What are you talking?
It would probably be considered youth fiction, young adult, but along the lines of superhero things, stuff along those lines. My character that I'm working with right now, he is not a football player, but he is a fighter. But yeah, that's probably my biggest. That and music are probably my two biggest interests outside of football. I haven't done anything with music. I'm just interested in it in general.
Okay.
But those are my two big ones. But really, honestly, when I'm not playing football, and my family can attest this, I'm probably watching football and trying to pick something new up.
So who's your? I know you're from 3 different spots, but who's your pro team? What's your pro team?
I'm a Panthers fan through and through.
Oh yeah, Panthers. You said that right.
Steve Smith was the guy who made me want to be a receiver.
Okay. Yeah, he was a beast, dude. I mean, I already knew he was a dog, but do you remember the game against the Giants? That's my squad when he broke his arm after catching that touchdown.
Yes.
That was wild. And then the next year, he beat that same corner for a touchdown, and he like pointed to his arm like, "Bro, I beat you with a broken arm." And I said at that point, that guy has to retire. You can't
live that down.
You know that phrase, "I could beat you with one arm tied behind my back"? I think he brought that to light. That's crazy.
Yep, and it's sad because I don't like to mention that moment a lot. My lady herself is a Giants fan, so I tried my best not to bring that up to her. So I'm glad you did, so now she can listen and hear it, and I don't have to be the one to say it.
Sounds like you got a nice lady, Maybe you should wipe her up or something. You know what I'm saying? She got a good head on her shoulders. So getting to the league, man, it's starting up. Obviously, it should have been tomorrow, but tomorrow, but it got pushed back 2 weeks. What's the transition going from, season mode activated to 2-week notice activated to chilling? Obviously, you stay active. You're watching football if you're not playing it. What's the go-to when it's not the game?
The game. It's coming from a team who, and I mean, if, like you said, yeah, you haven't seen me play directly. I get that, but the league knows how the Owls have played the past couple seasons. We have not had the best record. But this year specifically, we are very confident in the new piece we brought in and what we're doing. So those 2 weeks, we've just been taking advantage of those 2 weeks to just keep putting it in, because we really, really want to leave a mark on the league this year. And when you've lost for 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons straight, it really starts to get at you. So there's a level of hunger there that just keeps making us want to keep going. We can't step away from it. Like I said, I've been working since May. We haven't taken a break. We're really looking forward to week 1.
And who do you guys got at quarterback?
His name's Akil Abdullah. He's a newer quarterback. Yeah, he didn't play for us last year. But
you like what you're seeing?
I'm not going to put anything out there that's too crazy, but I love playing with him.
Okay. Sounds like he calls number 0 often. Is that what I'm hearing?
He calls whoever's open. And,
and number 0 is always open, right? You're 7-Eleven over here.
Somehow.
So, being in the league for a couple years, you've played different positions. You have an eye for the game. I don't want to say better than others, but differently than others, because you've played different lenses and stuff. Who are some players, and you can name drop, you can get spicy, man. This is the league. Who are some players in the league who you think are out of position, that are playing positions right now that should or could be doing something else?
I've actually never thought about that. I mean, there's a bunch of guys I think who are probably playing on the D line who could probably move back to linebacker. I can't think of anyone specific. There's a bunch of linebackers who I think probably need to move up to D-line. I'm not going to put any names out there on that one, but they need to move up to D-line. I bet I bet people look at us and probably say that we should be playing different positions here and there. Realistically, a lot of people tell me that I should move back to quarterback. I don't see it happening anytime soon, especially now that we've added Akil. But yeah, looking around the league, I don't know if I can name someone for someone who's out of position, but I can name a couple people who I think are in the perfect position.
Who are they?
When I played with the Hornets, and I still watch him to this day, I had to cover Guy on the Rebels. He plays for the Rebels now. He played with the Hornets that year with me. I had to cover him on a regular basis. That guy taught me way more than my fair share of how to cover someone who's much bigger than I am. I love his game. Big physical receiver, has great hands, underrated route running. I love watching his film. Martwan with the Spartans has great route running ability. Buddy with the Spartans has great route running ability. Sorry, I said Buddy. I had it and I lost it. Number 7. Oh, man.
On the Spartan, Billy?
Yeah, Billy.
Billy St. Jr.
Yes, man. Those two run great, phenomenal routes. I love watching them play. Marco, obviously, you had Marco on. Marco's a great receiver. I love watching them play because I learning something is huge for me. If I can't use it right away, that's fine. I can look at it, see it, go to the off season and work on it.
So staying on that, Marco, like you said, we were talking about, and he even knows he's the big play guy. He goes the 40-yard bomb, the 30 seconds on the clock, down 4th and goal, whatever. You saying that you like to be a slot receiver and grind it out, get the ticky-tacky 3 yards, get the 3rd and shorts, right? If there's ever a time where you catch yourself like, man, I wish I could do the big ball, or like, has there been a time of like, man, maybe I should bust to the outside, or or vice versa? Has there been a way of being like, nah, maybe I should stick to the slot because this is what I call home, right?
So, my personal belief in myself is my best 2 routes are a whip route and a 5-yard out. However, my best hands come on back shoulder fades. I don't have many, but one of my highlights with the Owls was my first year against the Rebels. It was a scramble drill, but my quarterback Jay at the time put it back shoulder in the end zone, and it's actually the picture for the thumbnail for this show. I toed it, kept in bounds. The playing on the streets on the curb taught me how to keep my toes in bounds. That came full circle in that moment.
Respect.
Yeah, that was probably I got a little bit of skill to be outside here and there, but that was probably the play that showed the most potential for it. But being in the slot, having a 2-way go, I don't think there's much better than that.
So cornerbacks, if you're listening, if he lines up on the outside, it's a back corner fade. You know what I'm saying? But he's putting his hands out there, and it's 1 for 1, bro. It's a head up. Who are some of the better corners in the league? Who are the guys shining on defense? Because I know who's talked about, but I want to see if you name drop some new guys or if we're on the same page.
Like I said, I played corner in high school, and my coach played professionally. The corner coach at Hamilton played for the Buccaneers, the Colts. He played professionally for his career, so technique is huge to me. I don't know if he's still playing, but Cam Gaddis with Tucson. I have never seen, minus Cole Luke, I have never seen a DB take over a game like he did. That was when I was playing with the Hornets.
Shouts to Cam. I think he's coaching, and I think he's playing arena ball with the Sugar Skulls. I'm not
as he should be.
As he should be. He's always working, man. They're one of the sponsors of the league. Gaddis Gaines, bro. They're balling. I see them working every day. He's coaching like 5th graders that look like they're 44. It's crazy.
Fluker, I believe it's Eddie Fluker with the Rebels. That he's no joke either. I don't know corners by name really well in the league, but I know them when I line up from them and I can see their technique initially. I'm like, okay, this guy's the real deal, or this guy has an over aggressive jam. He's just overly physical. I don't believe he's playing corner, but Andre Jones with the Phantoms. I played with him with the Hornets for a second as well. He has great technique. I learned a lot from him as well when I was playing with the Hornets. He's one of the other guys. Those are the first 3 that come to mind when I think of DBs, where I'm just like, okay, these guys got it.
So then I guess to your advantage, if you're lining up against a physical corner, it's your speed versus physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been some, you see it in basketball when some two like chirpy point guards are going at each other and they're just like just dribble fest. Has there been like has there been a time when you've been on an island with a dude and it's just been like locked down, like you step for step, you guys are there with every ball? Like, has there been? Because I've not to big myself up, but I broadcasted ASU football, and I covered, and I'm still friends with some of the guys. Osahan Iraborn, one of the All-American cornerbacks. He was telling me how playing corner and receiver, you're on an island opposed to the trenches and the box. So what's going on between you and the receiver, the corner and the receiver, is more of like its own story to then what's going on over here. And I was asking, what kind of, smack talk you guys say? And he goes, actually, it's the opposite. It's more respect. We mirror each other's routes. We say, oh, good job on, that. I got you on that in cut, or I got you on that stem, or whatever it is. And that's cool. So has there been like a, quote unquote, a love story on the island?
I haven't had it yet, but that's actually something I'm looking forward to. I hope it would be nice to say that sometime that someone had to bring their number one corner to the slot to cover me. That's a goal of mine. If I can get someone to do that, then I'm like, oh, okay. Now I've made it to where I want to. But I'll be honest, a lot of people do have that respectful back and forth. And I'm always trying to keep it as respectful as possible. But if you're lined up across from me, I'm probably not talking nice to you in that moment in time.
It's all business. It's not personal.
Yeah, and as soon as we're off the field, hey, you had a great game, cool. But even people I've played with that I've known my whole life, I got love for them. If you're in the other team's jersey that game, on the field, we're not cool. But as soon as it's over, we're fine.
Yeah, unless you lost, so then you got to wait for them to come to you.
Exactly.
Right? So getting to that, man, who name some players that you're not going at, or you don't have to talk smack or nothing, but what are some players that are some dogs in the league and you want to prove that you can hang with them and kind of eat their food? And who are some players that you want to go against this year, and kind of what teams have you circled on your calendar?
I can't.
Those type of things.
I don't believe I can name a player right now, but I do. I do know that our stomachs rumbling for week one. The specific, week one in general is always a hype week, but we wanted the Spartans in general. Last year we got thumped. I mean, we got thumped twice last year, but we got thumped by the Spartans. That left a bad taste in my mouth. So seeing them on the schedule was like, okay, it's time to go. And I know that they're coming out and they want to hit us in the mouth, and we're coming out and we want to hit them in the mouth. But there's a reason we play the game. So that would be the one for us where I got that one circled where I'm like, this is going to be a game. This is the game I'm looking forward to. This is the game that we're looking forward to. But that would be our real big one. And I know some people speak on rivalries. My viewpoint is we haven't been in the league long enough and haven't done enough for us to even have a rivalry with anybody. But if you're across from us, you're a rival for that game at least.
For sure, man. And then getting to it, obviously, you look good, you play good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have some cool uniforms, man. I can't front. They're really cool. They kind of remind me of the University of Maryland, how you have like the shield and that type stuff.
That's actually who inspired it, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. What do I know? I just do this, right? So with that, man, it's up there. I like them. There's some other teams. I like the uniforms. Who has the ugliest uniforms, bro?
Oh, God. Oh, someone's about to be mad in my DMs later. Oh, let me think about this real quick.
And I love it because they're going to rock it when y'all play them. This will be great.
All right. So, all right. I'm not going to say ugliest all-around uniforms. It's one of the not the better combinations, if I'm being nice about it. I love the Lions helmets, but those yellow jerseys I am not a fan of.
Oh,
I can't.
Bro.
I'm not a fan of those jerseys.
They're going to send the whole den at you, bro.
Dude, I got love for them, but I'm not a fan of jerseys.
You're going to have like 9-paragraph DMs of like, hey, bro, you don't respect the family.
Oh, yeah, that's my main one that comes to mind would be them. But that being said, last year, I wasn't a fan of necessarily the black helmets, blue jersey, white pants. If we did that, I wasn't a fan of those either. So I get it. But if I had to pick one, yeah, it might have to be that one.
Shots fired, baby.
Don't be too
I like
mad
it.
at me, guys. I apologize.
Okay, so then let's sweeten them up real quick, and then we'll take it to the live questions. What who has nice uniforms besides you guys?
The Spartans. I love the color scheme. Simple, to the point, it's sharp, it's clean. I've always liked their jerseys. Yeah, they got a good look. I'd probably have to say, yeah, I'd have to go with the Spartans. I gotta admit though, I do like the Bucks look, but I can't give them. I'm a Penn State fan. Ohio State's a rival. I can't give that credit. So I'm Spartans through and through.
Okay, that's fair. So appreciate you coming on, man. We're gonna take it to the crowd now. See if there's some questions here we can answer. So far just some comments. Let me see if I can pull up my phone. It's more live. Hi, George. He said, "What up, Dominic and Jesse?" What's up, George?
What's up, George?
Yo, Marzell, what's good, bro? He said, "How dare you, little jabroni, come on the Great One show, come on to the premier semi-pro show, and not even have enough class to introduce yourself?" Okay.
Oh, my bad. Wow.
Nah. No, I got you. Marzell, you don't know we had some technical difficulties before. It was the show before the show, and my man dropped 5 nicknames. He had like AKA, he had like his SoundCloud rapper name. It was dope. And then we had to cut back, and then he was like, "Yo, I'm Dominik." So. But yeah, that's who he is, Marzell. Where you at, Marzell? Who you playing with this year? So, but yeah, man, these people, I don't know. They just and they're showing love, bro. I mean, I don't know if you caught the broadcast the first couple years. There's nothing but hate. Oh, this guy's boring. This guy, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're past that. We do this. Y'all play. I talk about it. That's the setup. You know.
Well, I appreciate the love. I appreciate that, guys.
All right, let's see. And then, yeah, I mean, whatever else, man. I always like to get inside the head of a football player because you guys are crazy. What's the regimen? What's the diet, man? What's the meal time? Are you cutting off? Are you eating? Are you pulling the water? Is it Chipotle? Is it
So my rule is enough water, but as you can tell, I buck 60 soaking wet. My rule is anything when I'm hungry and anything when I'm not hungry goes. Just trying to get something going. But the water's a must. You can't go out dehydrated. I wake up, stretch before I go to sleep. I stretch somewhere in the middle of the day. Water and stretching to me, making sure I'm conditioned. Those main things come on a regular basis. But diet-wise, anything I can eat. Now, there's people out there I know have to be on a strict diet. I'm still trying to figure that part out, man. Is whatever works for me. If you got tips, put them in the comments. I'll read those as well.
I like Chipotle, man. That was always my go-to. It's still my go-to. King Demetrius.
Oh, my running back.
Okay, there you go. He has a long Facebook name. I didn't want to disrespect this. So I just hit it with the first and last. Which teams do you think are going to make the playoffs?
There's 8, right? 8 teams.
There was more, but at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
but
8 who make it. So.
Yeah.
Oh crap! Now I'm gonna get myself in trouble again. Here we go. We're making it this year. Owls are in. Spartans are in. We got Phantoms. Lions are gonna find a way in. I think there's 2 from our division, I believe. If I had to pick a second one from our division, I would have to say the Scorpions make it in. Next 2. Oh man, here I go. Who's gonna be mad at me later? I think the Outlaws are too well coached to not make it in. At the end of the day, they've been around for forever. I feel like they're gonna find a way. And then the Rebels.
Okay. Wow. The Rebels having a new quarterback.
I feel like the Thunder could be that 9th one who find a way to get in there and ruin someone's day, though.
Okay. And then shouts to Kaylee Zimpelman. She said, the Owls are going to show you all how much work they put in this season. They look great, and they have an exciting season ahead of them. I agree. We have a giant, exciting season for the whole league. And, yeah, the Owls, they're I'm excited for them as well. Martinez Jr. asked, who's going to the ship? Ship predictions. if you say you, bro.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Like,
I mean, thank you.
Yeah, no, I can't not say us. Like, what kind of answer would that be?
Exactly. That was a test. It was a test, Martinez.
My viewpoint end of the day is, we handle our business. We play who we got to play. We'll see them when we see them. I just want to be the last one standing at the end of the day. Because, like I said, I hate losing. I don't want to work. I don't want to have to have all this work to go to nothing. I want to be the last one standing. We got to be the last one standing. And I know a lot of people don't believe in us like that, and that's fine. You don't have to, but we have to.
Tanya Parker Johnston said, with the Owls, what is your favorite game? What was your favorite game?
She should actually know this, seeing as that she is my mother.
Yeah, I was like, this name seems familiar.
She knows that picture you got for the thumbnail, that Reapers game. Personal game, that's probably the best game I've played in this league, so I'd have to say that one. But my favorite game I've played in, since I've been in the league, would have to be Scorpions' first year at the Owls, because that was our first win. There was not a better feeling getting that first win as a franchise, as an organization. That would be the big one. As a team, I'd have to say that one. Personal achievement, I'd have to go Reapers. I'm hoping we have better ones this year, so I can put those back and maybe think about some bigger games that we ended up winning. I'll tangent off this one, actually. The hardest game I've ever played in semi-pro was my first year in the league against the Spartans. I was playing corner. We went to that game. They had a different quarterback starting. They brought in Daniel at halftime, and we ended up going to double overtime. We lost in double overtime, unfortunately. But I remember getting knocked on my butt like 5 times on pancake blocks at corner and kept popping back up. But that game was so physical. When I got home the next day, getting up the stairs was a chore. I did not want to go up the stairs if I could avoid it. That was probably the most physical game I've ever played.
Jay Jones was asking, when you played football on the street, who was your go-to player on your team?
Me.
Boom.
Find me.
He's got an answer for everything. You know what I'm saying? Meet me at the parked car. I'll pretend like I'm on the ground, play possum, pop back up. Boom, we in there for 6. Okay. Well, I'm excited for the season, man. Like I was saying, when it comes to broadcasting, I turn on my brain too. I jump on YouTube. I'm in the rabbit holes. I study the game through a lens. I see it from a distance. I see it from a different lens. It's a different responsibility. It's a different game, you know. But I love the idea that you guys know it better than me. So, like you were saying, you know, go to the experts. Mm-hmm. Use your resources. Rely on those that do this, right? Before we let you go and before, you know, the season starts, what are some things that you're gonna, besides obviously you want to win, you're gonna play good, yada. What are some things that stats wise, accomplishments wise, dedication wise, you're gonna hold yourself true to, and we can come back maybe midway season and I could kind of see if you're checking that list so far, if you're on pace.
I mean, of course we all have lofty goals. If I could go out there and lead the league in some crazy stats, that'd be awesome. But at the end of the day, I know it's kind of a weird stat. And I know it's a weird one, but if I could lead the league in first downs or third down conversions and as individual plays, that would be the one that I would want. That would be the big one.
Okay. And then what, then let me pull up, actually, while we have you, pull up week 1.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Hawks versus the Headhunters.
Okay.
Who do you got with that one?
I got a few boys who played at Hamilton with me on the Hawks. I'm going to have to go with the Hawks. I know who they are, and I know their dogs. Like, I got them.
We got another team adding to the league that I think from the GFL, the Silverbacks. Mm-hmm. They are going against the Reapers, who I like the Reapers' direction, man. They're big family oriented. They're trying to negotiate, trying to change the narrative from a couple of years ago and kind of clean up the act. And it's been all systems go, and it's new uniforms, kind of new motive, new purpose. They're on their way.
That's a tougher pick there. Is that game in Prescott by chance, or is that down here in the valley?
Sunny Slope. So I don't know where that is.
In which case, I'd probably lean towards the Reapers that game. If it was in Prescott, different answer.
And
That's
then
back and forth one.
And then this game you can catch on Roku TV at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Outlaws
Uh-huh.
versus the Arizona Roll Tide.
Okay, so I don't know what the Outlaws have and what they don't have, but I do know a little quiet thing. Had a little get-together with the Tide a few weeks ago. I got the Tide winning that game.
I actually do as well because I'm not a gambling guy, so I stick to the odds. The last couple of years, the Outlaws have started at least losing their first game. So that's what I think. They tend to turn it around.
Ooh, wait, now I think about it, with the Roll Tide not in my playoff teams, I'm going to have to reevaluate that. We're going to have to reevaluate that playoff team and have them in there.
They big expectations. Shouts to Coach Austin. They got the production going. I'm all for that, obviously. We have another new team, the Titans, going against the Tucson team, the Desert Demons.
I got the Demons in that one. New teams, and I know it firsthand, new teams is hard to come out and win right away. I'm going to have to go with the Demons.
Yeah. Shouts to my guy, Danny Valdez, offensive line, number 77. He's been jumping around from teams, so I don't know if he's for sure. Last I saw, he was there, but shouts to him anyway. Another new team, which I'm sure you've heard the jokes. They're talking about this being a merger. You got the Bucks versus the Running Rebels. Another merger, so to speak. Yeah.
Another little known secret. We also got together with the Bucks a few weeks ago.
Man,
I got the Rebels winning that game. Respect for the Bucks and the coaching staff, but I got the Rebels winning that
game. All right, let's see. Oh, we got some people jumping on the Twitch. Okay, so then so you got the Bucks winning that game.
Oh no, not the Bucks. No. Rebels.
Oh, Rebels. You got Rebels.
Yes.
My bad. I like you said, it's a new team, but they've been playing together, and there's a lot of guys coming from the same. So I don't know. That's a crapshoot. Like, I'm not a gambling guy, so I'm hands off with that one. Man, game of the week. Burn, bro. Alarm sounding. I'm excited, dude. This one, no disrespect to the Owls, but you got to understand this one had to come in hot. Lions, reigning champs of 2019. They will let you know that they're still the champions because nobody won one last year against the team that very much could have been in the championship last year in the Phantoms because they didn't lose a game.
I'm looking forward to that one. If you had to put my feet to the fire, I don't know if I could pick out of that game. I don't know for sure. The Lions are well led with Siobhan Davis. I know the Phantoms got a squad over there as well. I'm going to be interested in that one. If you held my feet to the fire and I had to pick, only because I know a little bit more about the Phantoms, I would lean that way, but I could very well be wrong, and I can understand myself being wrong on that one. So I'd have to lean it's like 51-49 split in my decision on that one.
Well, I'm calling that game, so I'm going to remain neutral, obviously. Make sure for those watching this podcast and fans of the league and those to tell your friends and family to tune into Game of the Week every Saturday it'll be on Twitch, Cactus Media X site, restream. We're going to get it out there. Dominik Johnston of the Owls, number 0. I got to ask, man. Out of 0 through 99, or 1 through 99, you couldn't find something you liked?
So believe it or not, 27 is my number through and through. But my coach told me, he's like, I'm not having a guy wearing a running back number playing receiver. And I told you that I was writing books. My book character's code name is 0. I know that's kind of a nerd thing there, but his code name is 0, so I picked 0 as a little joke to myself. My coach thought it was because it looked like an O for owl, but now he's going to know that's not the case. But that's why I picked 0.
So I don't think he was making shots, but allow me. Running back number, my guy, Lorenz, he wears number 23 at quarterback. All right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going to happen with that. I know Lorenz is watching, and I know he rocks number 23.
Yes, he does. I don't think
he's a quarterback.
I've never seen him wear something else either. Always wearing
He rocked
23.
he rocked 3 on the Outlaws.
Yes.
Just 3.
Yes, I remember that now. Good job jogging my memory on that one.
Yeah. And then he had and then he plays flag and stuff like that. I don't know if he has a jersey number in flag or whatever. But man, hey, shouts to Lorenz. But I'm kind of with you on your coach on that one. I think receivers should have single digits or teens or 80s or whatever.
Yep.
But you see it in funny in college. A kicker will have like 93. Yeah, really?
Our kicker, believe it or not, chose to wear 69 this year. So
nice.
There you go.
Nice. Gang. What are some things from the coaching staff that you're excited about, man? I know you can't give me everything, but what have you been the playbook? Is it looking like the menu from the Spaghetti Factory where it's like this big, or is it like a nice fine dining restaurant where you got the specials and that's it?
So if you go back and watch the film the past 2 seasons, you can look at the offense and be like, oh man, this is 5 types of plays. I am so happy that this year we finally got to open the playbook up a little bit more. We're going to see different stuff. It may come out of the similar formations, but we finally get to see some different things. We have the personnel to make it work as well. I'm looking forward to seeing the playbook open up. That is something I'm very excited for. Being someone who's an offensive mind, it makes me happy seeing it. And that's whether I'm in the game, on the sideline, cheering on my teammates. It doesn't make a difference. I'm looking forward to seeing this playbook open up.
Shouts to Coach Dre. He said, I know that number.
Yeah.
And then he said, who are you looking forward to playing most this year?
Spartans. Point blank. Spartans.
Point blank.
If they're week 3, it'd still be Spartans. I know people probably are like, he's just saying that because of week 1. If they were week 3, it'd still be the Spartans. If we had the same schedule, it would be them. If we had the same schedule just moved around, it would be them.
Anyone specific on the Spartans you looking at? I mean, obviously their defense and stuff like that, but
no one in particular. It's just like I said, they left a bad taste in their mouth last year. Out of the teams, I think on our schedule, we got to play the Reapers, we got to play the Rebels, and we got to play the Spartans. We lost to the Spartans and the Rebels last year, so it's the fact that we got one of the 2 teams who beat us. That's the one I circled.
Can you give me a score prediction for week 1?
Oh, man, they're going to think my score prediction's way off, but that's okay. I'm going to go 31-28.
You guys are winning by...
Oh, yeah, we're winning by 3.
Okay. Is your kicker nice? You guys got a good kicker?
We got a good good kicker.
He's got a nice jersey number, but we
got a nice kicker, and I'm the one holding the field goal, so I'm making sure that nothing's going on there.
You ever do the Charlie Brown, the Lucy, where you pull it from him and he falls?
Now when the game's on the line.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like, bro, hey, time and place, man. Come on. That's funny, dude. But hey, Dominic, appreciate you coming on. Thank you for coming down to the studio. You know, I could talk football all night. These guys could fill the comments, but I know you got a life to get to. And thank you for coming down. Again, you guys have lives outside of football, so to spend any time with me, with us, to make the league better, I really appreciate that. That's the goal. I'm just trying to make you guys look cooler, have a bigger stage, and kind of get some return on your investments, right?
And again, I appreciate you guys having me out here. It was a blast. I enjoyed it.
For sure, man. It's a good episode. I'm excited. We got some good content. You know, it's great to meet you, and now going as the season progresses, we'll have, you know, the conversations to touch on and be able to see if it's holding true, or if you got some things you need to step up, or if there's some things that you're flexing on. I'm like, bro, hey, you don't need to throw the ball at somebody after you touch the first down.
Hopefully that's never the inbox messages. Hopefully it's not that one. Hopefully it's, oh man, you had another great game. Thank you.
I'm like, bro, you can't keep doing the Randy Moss fake mooning the guy. Okay, it's disrespectful. All right. There's children here, but nah, I know that's not coming for you, man. But yeah, if you got anything else for us, what's one last message for the Owls, for the fans, the family, those new to the league? We got a lot of possible sponsors, investors, networks looking at you guys. So what's the message? What's something you're gonna, I guess, hang your helmet on?
My biggest one would be just enjoy it while we can, man. You never know how much football we're gonna get to play. You don't know if the next day you step on the field is going to be the last one. You don't know if you got 10 more years down the line. Just my biggest one would be enjoy it while you can, because this is a beautiful game, and it really is a microcosm of what life can be like and what the world can be like. So I would definitely say enjoy it while you can. Take it all in while you can, because you're not guaranteed to get back on the field ever.
I know that just from broadcasting. I didn't know COVID would take away the season like that, and then obviously I'm on the bench waiting for you guys to get it up and running, because like I said, without you guys, there's not much football I'm talking about, right? Shout outs to Tori D. Walker saying, what's up? What's up, Tori?
What's up, Tori?
So, before I let you go, man, you gave me the prediction. You told me the regiment. What do you want from the league? What else could you see the league progressing to, or what kind of things do you think would make your experience a little bit better? Not to say that, I'm Santa Claus and I got all this. In fact, I'm not.
Yeah.
But what's something that you think could help? Keep in mind Cortez's field, new turf. We've got some improvements. We have a new production going on. So we've been working. COVID's been slowing us down, but the grind, we've been in the digital gym, if you will.
Yeah. Realistically, I think the biggest one that I was looking at was what they're already planning on doing. A facility is huge. That like a centrally located facility where we can play games and kind of have like our own little bubble per se. To be there and have our own little role when we're playing. I think that was the big one, and we're already progressing that direction. I think that's my biggest one that I look at and go. And I know it's a long shot, but if down the line, like we live in Arizona, if we can get a dome down the line, I know that's probably going to be a ways off. But playing at 80 degrees is a lot different than playing at 120. But I think we're already going in a good direction. There's a little bit that the players got to do as well. If we stay professional, play our game, do everything we got to do, this league's going to blow up. That's just that's the natural progression of things. And we live in an area and down in the Southwest where football is such a major thing. We keep doing our thing, and we keep pushing the way we're pushing. We're going in the right direction. We'll get where we need to get.
There you had it, folks. Number 0 of the Owls, slot receiver.
Yep.
In his past life, he's played it all, but he's got a goal in mind. He's dedicated. He's ready. He's eager. He's passionate. He's Dominik Johnston. I'm Jesse Burke. This has been AZCFL episode 4 of Intel. Thanks again for coming on. Thanks to everybody that viewed, was in the comments. Trust me, the love is much appreciated and much needed as we're trying to build a better home for everybody involved, right? So you guys play the games. I'll continue to call them, and we'll keep going, right?
Perfect. Sounds great to me.
Appreciate you coming on. And once again, I'm Jesse Burke, and this is AZCFL Intel.